Welcome to the Quicksilver Adventuring League. It's been a hot minute since I have posted any videos, and I want to get back into the habit of doing that. I have actually been focusing on building out my campaign world and working on a lot of background and some subclasses, all kinds of stuff. But I'll give you a quick summary here of what I've been doing and where you can find me. I have been doing a lot of writing. I've written 85 subclasses now, and I'm still going. I've made a lot of magic items, feats, backgrounds for the world I'm in. I've got a Patreon I've created now, and I'm on DriveThruRPG. But I just continuing to create, and I'm actually taking a different spin on actually some of the subclasses and such because I'm not combat focusing them as much, but I'm trying to incorporate more role-playing aspects because frankly, I don't think there's enough of that in current 5th edition in 2024. But I'm more focused on the flair of the actual subclass itself than I am at making sure that they're combat balanced. It's just not as high a priority for me. The latest thing I've been working on is subclasses for the paladins and the paladins and clerics for the Pantheon I made. I made a Pantheon for the entire campaign world with 18 deities. But I made a cleric subclass and a paladin subclass for each deity so that they would each actually have their theme. And while the subclasses I have posted actually are going to have, oath of the deity's name or, domain of, well, actually I have the deity's name and then domain. But then I have the theme like, bravery's one, love, war, depravity is another one. It's just that they'll fit into any pantheon with those type of themes. So you don't have to, it's not limited to anything I make. You can use it, of course, just like most things, you can use it wherever the heck you want to use it. So feel free. Something else that I've tried to incorporate into some of the subclasses that I've made is I've never been a big fan of 5e, not 2024, where there's a few exceptions, but for the most part, only the rogue and the bard have options to gain expertise and some skills. Where it makes sense to me that like a druid might have the option, might have the option to get expertise in something like nature or survival, later on as they level as part of the class mechanics. It just seems like as they level, they would get better at this without having to spend a feat or something to get extra skills. So I try to incorporate some of these into some of the subclasses to make them more common because it just makes sense to me that, your characters as you level would also get better at their skills without having to spend a feat. It's just based on your subclass. I personally like that better. So you'll see that as a theme running through most of my subclasses. A lot of them have at least one. Now that that's out of the way, I'm going to go over a couple of the samples that I made and highlight them here. One is a paladin I made for Dexram, which is my god of war in the campaign world. So this is actually going to be one of the exceptions to some of the stuff I've been talking about, where most of this abilities for this subclass are going to be combat focused because, well, it's a war-themed deity. On this oath, you actually have the ability to reach down to a fallen enemy, take blood, wipe it on your hand, then you get this soft red aura. And anyone attacking you has disadvantage on the attack rolls for a number of turns equal to your proficiency modifier. So, for a short time, you're actually harder to hit. You do have to take that round to actually, forego attacks to activate the ability. But this is something like I have that's combat focused on this one. Then as an ability at level 7, instead of doing a standard paladin aura, I actually gave this one where they can activate it and they get fiery red eyes and just look more intimidating. And while they're dealing with enemies, they actually get a bonus to intimidation checks for 10 minutes. So instead of doing a standard, area effect aura that affects multiple people, I went with this path. It's a little non-traditional, but I actually like it for the feel for the character. But this is some of the themes that are within the Dexram, the war oath. Then an example of a cleric domain that I made, I'm going to use my Haan domain, not to be confused with the smuggler, but this is Haan. And I actually modeled this one as if you've actually read On a Pale Horse by Piers Anthony. It's more of a compassionate style death. And then also the Neil Gaiman death in The Same Man. It's kind of that theme too. Whereas the death is more of a neutral theme instead of an evil theme and more compassionate and impartial and will help most souls cross over. Some of the abilities that I use for this domain Like I did one, it's called Not Your Time, where you actually are able to stabilize someone at range. So, like within 100 feet, if someone's rolling death saves, you can actually use this ability to automatically stabilize them. And to keep with the neutral theme, I just did it as a creature. It doesn't have to be one of your friends. You can stabilize an enemy if you choose, or just someone you don't know. It's up to you as the character. Another one that I have is called Guard Your Soul, where actually you spend a round and someone has died and before 2 turns have passed after the creature has died, you can actually help carry its soul onto the next world. So you actually fade into the ethereal plane for your full round, your full turn, and then you come back on the beginning of your next turn at the exact same spot you left, but you have actually just like you're feeling more motivated, that you feel like you've accomplished something essentially, and you come back with some bonus abilities for 10 minutes. But it's just, it's a theme to help, just help someone move on to the next life. To continue on the neutral theme, at level 17, for example, your turn undead now affects other creature types as well, not just undead, but it will also affect celestials, fae, and fiends along with undead. So to keep with that neutral theme, you can actually push away the good and the evil. Well, that's an example of some of the things that I've been working on. Like I said, I've got 85 subclasses under my belt now. Actually, I have 4 playable races actually, and magic items, feats, all kinds of stuff. So I'm just building out the campaign world, like I said earlier in the video, and I got lots more to do. So you can feel free to check it out here. Again, I'll put the links in the description for the 2 subclasses I briefly mentioned here. And then I've got stuff over on DriveThruRPG and then Patreon. But yeah, thanks for watching, and see you next time.